All right. We are live. I'm Charlie Burris. That is Zach Reagan. This is the A to Z Sports Big Orange Podcast, a special edition where we are reacting to Tennessee's draw in the NCAA tournament. It is 7 p.m. on Sunday night of Selection Sunday. We just watched the selection happen. It could be a tough one for Tennessee. We're going to break it down. We're going to just give our sort of quick take on it, and we'll see exactly how we feel. See if Zach shares some of my thoughts on it. I'm not sure, and honestly, I'll say this: everybody that's tuning in, go ahead and drop into the comments and tell us what you think might happen to Tennessee, and we'll react to the comments that pop up. But I do have to tell you, this whole stream is brought to you by our awesome friends at Run Your Pool. And here's the thing, guys. You got to go sign up for this, because here is what will happen if you do. It's super easy to sign up. I already did it. Takes 2 seconds. I don't know. It's a little bit longer than that, but not too much longer. And you fill out your bracket. And then if you are in the top 3, we got a 55-inch TV. We got a $150 gift card to Fanatics. We got a $50 gift card to Amazon that you could win for the top 3 folks. So go sign up, play.runyourpool.com/ATOZ, play.runyourpool.com/ATOZ. Fill out those brackets, win yourself some prizes. Go do it. Run Your Pool, play.runyourpool.com/ATOZ. Go check it out. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, and a little bit more this week. But they're our newest partner here, and they're supporting the show. So go support them. The more people that sign up, the more fun it's going to be. And me and Zach are going to be in there. We're already signed up. So you'll get to compete against us too, and everybody else at A to Z. So Run Your Pool, play.runyourpool.com/ATOZ, and get in on the bracket challenge with all of us. All right. Here is the deal for Tennessee. The bracket came down, and Tennessee, there was kind of a feeling like, I don't know if Tennessee will actually end up a 3 seed. Lenardi predicted a 3 seed right up until the tournament draw was announced. And then other guys, I think Palm had Tennessee as like a 5 seed, I want to say. Like, there were some people, it was all over the place. But Tennessee ends up being a 4 seed in the East region, and they will be playing Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, the Sun Belt champions. They just won the Sun Belt tournament. And then if Tennessee wins that game against Louisiana, we're going to talk about that one. But if Tennessee wins that game against Louisiana, they will play the Duke Blue Devils, who just won the ACC tournament. Of course, that is the draw. And then if that happens, Tennessee will play one of Purdue, Memphis, or FAU, assuming Purdue beats the 16 seed, and they're playing one of the play-in teams, and I don't know which, and I don't really care because they're going to win that game. And so Memphis, FAU, or Purdue in the Sweet 16 if Tennessee makes it. And then on the other side, Kentucky, Providence, Kansas State, Montana State, Michigan State, USC, Marquette, and Vermont. Nothing about this is easy at all. But that doesn't necessarily mean the Tennessee can't win some games. But you see this draw, Zach. How are you feeling?
Not that great about it, but I'm not really sure. Honestly, I'm not sure any draw would have made me feel great after watching what Tennessee's done these last couple of weeks, or this last month. Really, it was going to be tough no matter who it is. Just the style of basketball they're playing, not having Zakai Ziegler, the inconsistency. I wasn't going to feel real good about this tournament run, period. But this is tough. I don't think Louisiana's as tough as CBS was making it out to be. We were talking a little bit before we started recording just now. They haven't had a lot of competition. They haven't really beat anybody that's, the 2 top, 70 teams in the KenPom rankings that they've played. They've lost to both of them. One of them, Texas, pretty significant loss. So I think even without Ziegler, I think Tennessee will handle business pretty easy there. But that matchup with Duke, who, I do think they'll probably, even though it's a 5-12 matchup, I do think they'll probably cruise because Duke is playing really well right now. That's the one. It's tough to get past Duke. Just it's one of those situations where it's what March is about, getting hot at the right time. You saw it with UNC last season. Duke could be that team this season. And unfortunately, of course, Tennessee gets pitted against them, possibly.
The only thing that I can think in terms of that Duke game, it could be, I guess you'd say, a redeeming factor is that Duke, from winning the ACC tournament, and I think to some extent this may have happened at Tennessee last year, Duke will have played what? 6 games in 7 days or something, like 5 games in 7 days. I don't know where they started in the ACC tournament, but I would guess 4 games probably that they played in the ACC tournament. Again, I'm not completely sure. And then they would have to play the opening round game, and then they have to play Tennessee 2 days later. So that would be, yeah, what, like five games in 7-ish days, 6 games in 9 days. So maybe they're a little worn down. Tennessee obviously lost in the second round or their second game of the SEC tournament to Missouri once again. Oh boy, don't get me started. But maybe that could be something with Duke. I agree with you on Louisiana. Immediately on the CBS broadcast, Seth Davis was like, "Oh, I'm calling Louisiana to beat Tennessee. They're going to beat Tennessee. Tennessee stinks. They don't have Zakai Ziegler. They suck." Okay, well, yeah, you look at Louisiana's schedule. The one truly legitimate team they played this season was Texas. They lost by 30, and Tennessee beat Texas. So, of course, I think somebody already in the well, no, but Zakai Ziegler was on that team that beat Texas. And that's one thing. Is that upset possible? Absolutely, it's possible. I am not writing that off at all. Tennessee lost to a really not good Oregon State team a couple of years ago in the first round of the NCAA tournament. I write off nothing. And the NCAA tournament is absolutely wild. Always, from beginning to end, every single year. Who knows what's going to happen? And a 14 beating or a 13 beating a 3 in no way is unprecedented. But I think Tennessee will probably win that game. But that Duke one, playing right at the right time, obviously, I mean, they're going to have elite dudes. It's Duke. They do. It's a first-year coach, which may be something. But, of course, Barnes lost to Dennis Gates twice this year at Missouri. So what difference does that make, maybe? And yeah, that feels, personally, that feels like the end of the road. I'm just not going to lie. That just feels like you're just running into an unfortunate buzzsaw where they beat Virginia by like 10 in the ACC championship game. I'm not sure. Do you agree at all with that assessment of maybe Duke will have tired legs? Does that hold up?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of ACC tournament champions win national championships, so I don't know if, it can be maybe. I don't know enough about their team to know how old they are, kind of what they've been through this season with injuries and all that, because obviously that plays a factor. I mean, maybe it could be a factor. I don't really find any solace in that too much, to be honest. Just maybe it's because it's Duke and history suggests that they will probably make a deep run when they're playing well because that's what they usually do. But I don't think that would give Tennessee too big of an advantage, to be honest. I think one thing that people are kind of overlooking is what if Tennessee does somehow get past them, though? It could set up a heck of a matchup down the bracket with Memphis if they can get past and pull some upsets and get past maybe Purdue later on, which I know they got a tough opening matchup too with they play Florida Atlantic, who's 31-3 and playing pretty well. Man, Tennessee and Memphis later on would be such a fun, game. But going up against Penny, hopefully we can get that. That would be fun to see.
Purdue, another team. I mean, they just kind of ran right through the Big Ten tournament. They almost let Penn State come back and win today. I watched the end of that game. They very nearly lost, but Penn State, instead of getting up a shot to win, the guy traveled. So that was unfortunate. But
those anticlimactic endings where you feel like you might see a nice buzzer beater and they don't even get the shot off. That's the most frustrating thing about this time of year is you do get some of those.
I mean, it's never going to be easy in the tournament. That's always going to be true. Period. You're always going to have a tough draw, essentially. Always, but all gonna have to draw essentially always. That's ridiculous and redundant. You're almost always gonna have a tough draw, but obviously there can be ones that are better than others. Like you look back at that Grant Admiral team that lost to Sister Jean. They didn't lose. They didn't lose to Sister Jean herself, but they lost to
Felt
her
like
school.
it.
Loyola Chicago.
Saw her more than their actual players.
That's correct. But you think back to that one. I mean, that couldn't have been a better draw ultimately. If you get past there, you would have played like a sort of middling Kansas State, I think, in the next round. And obviously,
how far did they go? Loyola, did they go Elite Eight?
Final Four.
Final Four. Yeah, that's
they made the final.
Yeah.
I mean, it just can fall so easily. I mean, Tennessee should have played Duke in the second round in Conzo's final year. In the Conzo goodbye year, they should have played Duke in the second round. They ended up playing Mercer because Mercer beat Duke. So yeah, you do never know. You could end up playing Oral Roberts in that second game. There's an absolute possibility that could happen. Oral Roberts has been really good. They just won their conference. So who knows as far as that goes. But just with the way that Tennessee has been playing, Missouri's a nightmare matchup for them. Clearly, they struggled against them both times. Of course, Tennessee still had a 8-point lead in the second half and didn't win that game against Missouri. But I could rant about that for a while. Nothing was ever going to be easy. But this one, are these games all winnable for Tennessee? Yeah, they could absolutely beat Duke. I think they probably will beat Louisiana. They could absolutely beat Purdue. They could absolutely beat Memphis. Any of these teams, like an Elite Eight is more than on the table for this team, but can they actually go out there and do it? Because, I mean, it seems like statistically speaking, unless Josiah Jordan-James simply doesn't play, that seems to be, Tennessee beat Alabama without Josiah Jordan-James. But if he does play, he's either on or Tennessee loses because he's, he was on against Ole Miss. Tennessee disposed of them relatively easily. And then they turn around against Missouri. He was just horrendous. 7 points and 1 rebound, just basically disappeared. And Tennessee loses by 9 to Missouri for the second time. So the team at this point is going to go as Josiah Jordan-James goes, as Vescovi goes. I think Vescovi, it seems like you can depend on. He is, if he's healthy, he is pretty good almost every night. He finds a way, kind of like Zakai Zeigler. The only way to eliminate him from a game in terms of effectiveness is to get him in foul trouble. But outside of that, I mean, who knows who's going to show up? If Limier Kamwa shows up, Tennessee can have a huge game. If Tyreek Key shows up, Tennessee can have a huge game. But how often do those guys show up? It's really that. It's all there for this team. But will they actually go out there and string those games together? Just color me skeptical, I guess.
With the feeling I had when I was watching the reveal, and Seth Davis and Clark Kellogg, I both picked Louisiana to upset Tennessee in the first round. And their whole basis was that Zakai Zeigler will be out. Tennessee won't have their point guard. And I instantly in that moment flashed back to when all the bowl games were being announced in early December, and everybody was picking Clemson to beat Tennessee because they wouldn't have number 5 Hendon Hooker out there. So obviously it's a completely different sport and a different postseason setup, but it did kind of make me feel, remember that all that talk about not having Hendon Hooker and how difficult that would be for Tennessee to overcome. And then they go out and beat Clemson by 17 points. And I'm not saying that Tennessee's about to make a Final Four run without Zakai Zeigler, but maybe they can capture some of that magic that the football team had. We've seen them play decent at times without Zeigler.
Yeah.
Just doing it 5 games in a row, 4 games in a row. That's the big question. Can you do it more than once?
Yeah, Mr. Jones in the comments, he says, if Meshack needs to be March Shack, if you can
get time,
here it is. Here is Meshack's opportunity. Step up. And I think he's had a couple of pretty tough games recently. So time to step up if you can.
Let me ask you, do you have a bracket that you're looking at pulled up? Okay. Do you think Tennessee or Kentucky has an easier path?
I think Kentucky will probably lose that second round game to Kansas State. Kentucky's just not very good.
But would you rather have would you rather be Tennessee in their spot as a 6 or where Tennessee's at as a 4?
I would rather be probably Tennessee in this case. Providence is pretty good. Kansas, and that's your opening round game. Kansas State is very good. And then Michigan, beyond that, Marquette is very good. They just ran right through the Big East tournament.
Yeah, they
and
might
they're
be the team to watch right now.
Yeah, their hair's on fire right now. They're just chugging along. I mean, I don't think they make it further than the Sweet 16. If they could upset Kansas State, I would say it this way: I'd be very impressed. I'll give it to them, because I mean, they just lost to Vandy. I don't know.
Should Vandy have been in this thing? I mean, that's the other big
Yes.
topic kind of on social media.
This comes down to the philosophy. The folks that make the bracket will tell you they take in the entire body of work. They look back at the beginning of the season. Vandy lost to Grambling. Well, Vandy won like 11 of their last 12 games. They should have been in the NCAA tournament. And, one of those was in Rupp Arena. They had just some really nice games that they've won. And they absolutely could have pulled some upsets there. And, I take no joy in saying good things about Vandy, believe me.
Yeah,
But
it just is what it is. I'm not a Vandy, fan or supporter either necessarily, but they were fun to watch, and it was fun watching them beat Kentucky in the tournament.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. What a great time. That was a little bit of a consolation prize after Tennessee blew it against Missouri. But like, you also kind of on that same note, like, I don't know exactly where they ended up, but Texas A&M.
Yeah,
let me see. I'm not finding it. What poor sucker has to play them in this? Why am I not finding them here? Here it is. Penn State. Yeah, I mean, Penn State, winnable, I guess, but that's pretty tough. They're the best 7 seed.
I saw somebody on Twitter said that is like an ideal Outback Bowl matchup, and it really does feel like that would be an Outback Bowl, Texas A&M and Penn State.
It really does.
But yeah, them as a 7 seed. I know it's because of the non-conference schedule. I get it, but you're still playing in the SEC, which tied for the most teams in the NCAA tournament with 8, I believe. I think the Big Ten had 8 as well. I could be wrong. I can't remember which was which, but still, you're playing in a really hard conference that's really ascended over the years. That should kind of trump some of that non-conference stuff, you would think. I mean, I watched Texas A&M play, watched them play Tennessee, and they're better than a 7 seed.
Yeah. But that's the way that goes when you have that philosophy of we're taking in the full body of work. We're not taking in, what have you done for me lately very much. And so you end up with Texas A&M as a 7 seed and Vandy not getting in. It is what it is. But I'll ask this of everybody in the comments. A lot of people going back and forth in the comments. Oh, I didn't even notice this, but Elias Gray is right. He says Texas A&M gets Texas in the second round. That had to be intentional. Absolutely.
Gotta hope we get that. Yes.
That would be great. A little future SEC matchup there. But I'll ask everybody in the comments who's watching. We got a bunch in here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Drop into the comments and just tell me what round is Tennessee making it to. They win the whole thing. They make the Final Four. They make the Elite Eight, Sweet 16, second round. Do they lose in the first round to Louisiana? But just drop into the comments and we'll read them and we'll talk about what y'all think. And then maybe we can give our prediction here and we'll go back and talk about how stupid we are in a couple weeks. But yeah, just drop into the comments and say that. But
might not take that long to.
That's true. That's true. That's assuming Tennessee makes the second round. But yeah, get in the comments. Tell us how far Tennessee is making it. And then I got to tell you once again, our great sponsor for this is Run Your Pool. Play.runyourpool.com/ATOZ, A to Z. Play.runyourpool.com/ATOZ. Go there now. Get in on the bracket challenge with me and Zach. You'll get to play against us. It's a pretty traditional bracket challenge. You fill out a bracket. It takes no time at all to sign up and get in. And then if you are in the top 3 finishers in the bracket challenge, 55-inch smart TV, $150 gift card to Fanatics, I believe, $50 gift card to Amazon. It's all laid out there on the page. I believe it tells you that when you get there. But go and sign up, and you'll get to play in a bracket challenge with me and Zach. And you get to support the sponsors of this show because they support us. Please, please, please do that. They're really good to us. So be good to them. But play.runyourpool.com/ATOZ. Go sign up, fill out your bracket, and win some prizes. Now, let's see what everybody had to say. I just Just drop in. Tell me how far Tennessee is making it in your personal opinion in the comments here. Jeff says second round at best. He's an Ohio State fan, though. We take that with a grain of salt. Mr. Jones says national championship. I certainly hope so. Second round bounced by Duke from Jordan Estrada. Elias says, I got them losing to Marquette in the Sweet 16. Would that be correct? Wouldn't it be Purdue in the Sweet 16? Yeah, Purdue, Memphis, or FAU. So maybe he meant Purdue. But then he follows that up and he says, honestly, I think they're 50-50 in every game. Yeah. And Lori says the Elite Eight. So a little bit of confidence. I'm not sure, seriously, because this team has been so all over the place. There is a version of this team that makes the Elite Eight, like Lori thinks. There is a version of this team that loses to Louisiana in the first round. Chris says, Tennessee has had a bad 3 weeks. I have them losing in a round of 32. Yeah, I mean, do you take into account their momentum? Because their momentum right now, is there any? I'm not sure. Does that just mean the first or second round loss? I'll throw it to you, Zach. What's your prediction? How far are they making it?
I think if you have to look at this logically, remove any, fan feelings from it, what you want to happen, what could happen, and just like, okay, what's most likely to happen? Like Chris said, Tennessee hasn't had a great 3 weeks. They've been up and down. Every time it looks like they're about to get some momentum, they lose a game, and it kind of slows that momentum. The Ziegler injury obviously, hurts you a lot. That's your it's your point guard. I mean, you go as he goes, as you've said many times on here. And then with Duke being so hot right now and winning the ACC tournament and having all this momentum, I mean, I know things can change and that doesn't always play out the way you think it will. That's why nobody ever nails the brackets. But I don't see Tennessee making it past the second round. I think they beat Louisiana. I think they beat Louisiana by 15 to 20 points. I think it's a fairly easy, decent win, maybe more. But then I think they lose to Duke. I don't know how that game goes, but I mean, Tennessee will make it tough. Just the way they play defense will make it tough on Duke. It won't be an easy win for Duke by any means, but it's just Tennessee's had trouble closing out some of those close games like that. And I just think with the way Duke's playing, I don't see them getting past them.
Let's see. We got a few more comments here. Brent says second round at best. Wouldn't be surprised if they lose in the first round without ZZ. This is an interesting note from Elias. He says Louisiana shoots threes at almost the slowest clip in the country, despite being top 50 in making them. That is very weird. Yeah, and then Jordan responds to that, said they take their time finding shots. That probably plays into Tennessee's hands because Tennessee is so lengthy on the perimeter.
I mean, so they're breaking into a half-court game, kind of like a Virginia
you don't want to do that.
Offense, I assume. Yeah, no.
Yeah, you don't want to do that against Tennessee. That's how Tennessee wins. Is if you want to play traditional half-court against Tennessee, that where they lose. I mean, it's why Missouri is an absolute nightmare for Tennessee. It's because Missouri don't play that. I was saying to Zach before we got on here, Missouri is basically they're sort of the Josh Heupel of the SEC this year, where they were just balls to the wall, throw it up there, see if it goes in. If it goes in, we win. If it doesn't go in, we lose. And it worked. I mean, and obviously they have Kobe Brown is really good too. But yeah, so I think that plays into Tennessee's hands. But I will say I think Tennessee does win that Louisiana game. That Duke game is going to be extremely close, and that's the problem. Tennessee can't win close games. It's like they don't have the ability to. What close game did Tennessee win this year? It was like a 10-point win or a loss. Mm-hmm. That was 10-plus point win. And sometimes it was a 30-point win or a 40-point win, like against South Carolina, or it was a loss. Like
the Texas game almost got a little hairy there at the end, towards the end. I mean, they did, but that was like even that's kind of, I think they ended up still winning by double digits, didn't they?
I want to say 9.
Okay.
Maybe right there. But it's that I think it'll be a close game with Duke, and that's the nightmare scenario. It was the nightmare scenario against Missouri. Tennessee should have won that game, and they crumble. They have these periods where they just don't score for 6-7 minutes, and you're just pulling your hair out watching that. I mean, this half court offense that this is an off-season discussion, but that half court offense that Rick runs just it makes me want to crawl in a hole and just
What was that
hide.
text you sent the other day about that? Oh, probably can't read it on here.
Something about how if I never saw that offense again, I might be not too unhappy about it. But regardless, it's just that can you score when it matters? Santiago Vescovi can, but who else can? And even Santiago this season, when it came down in the Vandy game, in the Missouri game, where Missouri won on the half-court shot, he couldn't even do it. So I got it. It's second round. It has to be right. It just feels. But at the same time, I feel like in years past, like last year, I was so confident Tennessee was making the Elite Eight. Like I was like, that this team is gonna cruise. Michigan,
we felt for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I felt good about it. And Michigan was they had just been in a lull that season, even though they barely slipped into the tournament. And then, here we are. Michigan made it farther than Tennessee did. So we'll see. But I think that's gonna be pretty much it. We will have our show tomorrow and kind of expound a little more on not just this, but on everything else going on with Tennessee sports.
Let me ask you this question real quick, because I'm sure we won't talk about it tomorrow. It's not really Tennessee related, but it's March Madness related. UNC basketball puts out a statement just a few minutes ago that they're declining their invitation to the NIT and not participating. How do you feel about that? That's not something that typically happens.
I didn't see that. So
Hubert Davis put out a statement a little bit ago, and he didn't really say anything necessarily about the NIT, but then the official basketball account tweets out the statement, and it says, caption, Tar Heels choose not to participate in the 2023 NIT. And he said that they were going to start preparations for next season, basically was the line. But no, they're declining the invitation.
I mean, I think this is sarcasm. Eric says they're above the NIT. Well, that's how I feel. Really, really. UNC, come on. Roy Williams ain't walking back through that door. Don't kid yourself here, UNC.
And he played in the NIT a time or two.
Yeah.
At Carolina. I know his first year.
I mean, come on. Elias is arrogant. Sends the wrong message in 1,000 different ways. Absolutely. I don't like that.
Here's what I think it is. I think they do not want to get beat in their first game in the NIT.
Yep. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Do not want that embarrassment.
Because
did that happen to Kentucky? Did that happen to Kentucky? Yeah.
That's what I was about to say.
Okay.
Kentucky went and they played Oral Roberts, who ironically, that's who Duke has to play in the first round. And maybe Tennessee will be playing Oral Roberts next weekend. Who knows? But they played Oral Roberts and they lost that Nerlens Noel team. The Nerlens Noel Kentucky team went to the NIT and then lost to Oral Roberts. Total embarrassment. I don't know. Honestly, like that's a legit discussion. Which is worse, the St. Peter's lost in the first round last year, or at least this year with Kentucky? If they lost in the first round, they'd at least lose to an actual basketball team in Providence. But or losing to Oral Roberts. Which of those is worse? I don't know. But that's that's bad.
Yeah. Not a good look, but I mean, hey, that's what you get when it is kind of funny to go from preseason number 1 to not even making the tournament. And I think they said that's the first time it's happened since the field expanded to 68 teams that a preseason number 1, or maybe 64. It might even go back further than that.
Steve Graham, he corrects me here. Is Robert Morris. Morris, sorry. I got my name schools mixed up. Morris, Oral Roberts. Sorry. Robert Morris. Okay. Super embarrassing still.
Yeah.
Love a good Kentucky embarrassment. Oh, this guy, we got a Kentucky fan in here. Don't get it twisted. This Kentucky team is going to the Final Four. No, they're not. They're definitely not. So, I don't know. They might. Who knows?
Yeah, I'll pass on that. They beat Tennessee twice, so I'll sit this one out.
They did. I still don't understand that. One of those where Tennessee was out of 100% health.
Yeah.
Credit where it's due. You did do that, but then you lost to Vandy twice. So,
I'm gonna fill out this bracket probably tomorrow. I usually do it the day after. Not that it helps. I'm terrible at it, and every one of you will probably finish above me because it just doesn't usually go well for me. I don't know how people win these things, but I feel like Marquette like I was texting last night with you and Austin. That's the team that I think might have a chance.
They are buzzing this season. Shaka Smart, man, he kind of stunk it up at Texas, but he is revitalized that Marquette program. Impressive stuff from them. Like I said,
That's
they were
really
a buzz
strange.
on the Big East
He's
tournament.
going to get a second chance at a marquee job, probably.
Well, I mean, the Big East at this point is kind of a marquee job.
Yeah,
Like you could go to Villanova, maybe, although Villanova plays in like a little high school gym
which
when
is
they're
weird.
not when they're not playing it where the 76ers play in Philly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. The tournaments in Madison Square Garden, legendary.
Yeah.
Consistently one of the better leagues in all of college basketball, and obviously, you've had national champions in the last few years. Oh, Eric, gonna get me started over here. Where is Rick Pitino going? He
It's
asks
a big
in the comments.
discussion.
Iona back in the tournament. No, hey, Rick, he's a fossil. I don't know how old he is.
God, he's
Rick
been
Pitino.
around forever. He's got to be 70, in his 70s, right?
He is 70. Does that mean he's younger than Rick Barnes, though? I think it does.
Think so, yeah.
Rick is 68, so he's a little older than Rick. Okay. I was thinking Rick was over 70.
Some Big East
Saban's
school is going to hire Rick Pitino.
This is the honest goodness truth. My dad is from rural Kentucky. It's where he grew up. He's never been a Kentucky fan. Don't worry. In fact, he hates Kentucky more than anyone. He grew up a Louisville fan. So I've tangentially through him, I've watched a lot of Louisville basketball. We've gone to the Louisville basketball games together. And I'll start out by saying I'm a little biased in saying this. Rick Pitino is one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. He would come if Tennessee shamelessly, this is in no universe will this ever happen. But if Tennessee just like flew off the handle, fired Rick Barnes, hired Rick Pitino, in my personal opinion, he would take Tennessee to a Final Four before he left. Like he's so good. He is I will step on your throat at all costs. It doesn't matter. And that's why he wins. He's like a Nate Oates. He doesn't care about morals.
No, clearly.
He'll do what it takes. And that's how you win. Clearly, that is how you win in college sports. So where is he going? I have no idea, but whoever picks him up,
somebody will.
Going to be good. So
it won't be Ole Miss. They already hired their sketchy guy, Chris Beard.
I'm kind of surprised he wasn't in the running there if they were already going to take a look at Chris Beard. But
young, they went youth.
Yeah. You gotta. Yeah, because you won't get Pitino for more than 5 years at most, I would guess.
Yeah.
So. All righty. Charlie Burris, Zach Reagan. Hopefully, it doesn't seem like we were a little negative here. But it also seems like almost everybody in the comments is too.
Negative. It just seemed realistic. I mean, we've said
exactly.
Hey, we know Tennessee can beat any team in this tournament, and they can beat any team in their bracket or in their region. But it's just doing it consecutively, doing it 3, 4, 5 games in a row that you have to do to get to a Final Four. They haven't really shown they can do that, especially without Zakai Ziegler. I mean, it's not really negativity. It's just the odds are stacked against them, and
yeah.
You have to recognize that.
They've been the bad version of themselves more than they've been the good version.
I'll let you answer Jordan's question.
Well, hold on. I will answer that. I just noticed we had a couple of answers to how far Tennessee will make it on Twitter, and I just want to say Nick Walker said Sweet 16. Monkeytown Vol said round 2. And then I said we're predicting how far Tennessee will make it right now, and Nathan said so the show's going to be short then. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is getting into the weeds really on college basketball. Rick Pitino or Jay Wright. I would kill a man to have Jay Wright as a basketball coach for the team I love. I love Jay Wright. He's like my favorite college basketball. He's such a gangster. He's the last great vestige. Well, really Pitino is at this point, but Pitino's at Iona. But Jay Wright was the last great gangster. And man, like Calipari thinks he is, but he's not.
No, he's not. He's
he's, having the teams that he's had at Kentucky coming out with one national championship means he's not a good coach. So good in-game coach. Obviously, he's made some Final Fours and stuff. But, like I said, Jay Wright that's like the dream. And he's never going to come back to coach college basketball again.
No.
But I think that is it. Oh, look, this Kentucky fan, he keeps coming back. Love it when Tennessee fans act like they're good or ever won anything in men's basketball. You know what Tennessee has won in basketball? The SEC tournament. You know who Tennessee beat on the way to that SEC tournament? Kentucky. I was at the game. I was there. I watched it in person. It was really fun.
Is the pom-pom behind you anywhere still?
Oh, yeah, it is. Dude.
It's the most excited I've seen you on the show yet.
This was from that game. I've told this story for people who watch this show consistently, but it's from Kentucky. It's a Kentucky can. In fact, that Kentucky can't. They can't beat Tennessee in the SEC tournament, and they didn't. And a Kentucky fan threw this at me because I yelled at them, and it was fun. I'll put that up in a second. But all right. So Charlie Burris, Zach Reagan. This was fun. Hopefully, I'll put it this way. Hopefully, we're wrong. And you know where you could prove us wrong? Run Your Pool. Play.runyourpool.com/ATOZ. Go there. Zach and I will make our predictions, and we're going to have entries there on Run Your Pool, and you can play against us and play for a chance to win flat screen TV, gift cards. It's all there. Play.runyourpool.com/ATOZ. Go and sign up now, and then play the bracket challenge against me and Zach and everybody else at A to Z. It's going to be kind of the whole company. So sign up there and win yourself some prizes. And tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time, Zach and I will be live streaming our full Big Orange podcast that will be more than just this bracket talk. And I think that's it. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow at 4 p.m.
See you guys then.